What makes you think you're gonna make it in life? Man, you gotta stop selling this stuff to this guy, man. Stop it. It's getting old. Go get that job that you let go of paying you $12 an hour and part-time get a degree. Stop taking these damn risks. We're not meant to do something big with our lives. Simple as that.
Pat, I want you to know this voice is never going away. This voice is always going to be there. No matter how much money you're going to make, it's always going to be there. The great thing about it is, though, every morning you wake up, you have a choice on which voice to listen to. But I want you to think about a completely different thing right now. Let's just say you do nothing. Let's just say you buy into your fears. Let's just say you buy into every single thing you're worried about. Let's just say you don't make any decisions to go after your dreams. Fast forward 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. Let's just say your funeral's around the corner. You have 50 people there, 100 people, maybe 200 people show up. These are your friends, family, and people that love you. So you'll be loved for one generation, remembered for 2 generations, and forgotten after that. Is that truly the life you want to live? Is that really what you want to do? I don't know if that's the life you really want to live. You see, what I've noticed is, no matter what you ever do, you'll have a lot of lonely times. You can lie to your family, you can lie to your friends, you can fool the world into realizing that why you didn't win was because of some challenge that you had to face. But there's one person you can never lie to, and that is the man in the mirror. You can never lie to the man in the mirror. Never. For the rest of your life, the man in the mirror is going to look back at you and say, you did not choose to go after your dreams. And you have to be okay with that. Now, what I would like to encourage you to do is to make the right choice. I encourage you to face your fears and pursue your dreams. Go pursue the dreams that matter the most to you. You only got one shot at this thing here. And if it works out, man, it's going to feel so good for you. And if it doesn't, at least you had the courage to make that decision. I hope you make the right choice.
Sometimes defeat is the best beginning. Why? Well, for one, if you're at the very bottom, there's only one way to go: up. But more importantly, if you're flat on your back mentally and financially, you'll usually become sufficiently disgusted to reach way down deep inside yourself and pull out miracles. Pull out talents and pull out abilities and pull out desires and determination. When you're flat broke or flat miserable, you'll eventually become so disgusted that you'll pull out the basic essentials required to make everything better. And it's in the face of adversity that things begin to change, that you begin to change. With enough disgust, desire, and determination to change your life, you'll start saying, I've had it. Enough of this, no more, never again. Here's where the miracle begins. I've had it. Enough, no more, never again. These words and these thoughts really rattle the power of time and fate and circumstances. And these 3 things, time and fate and circumstances, all get together and say, we can see that we have no power here. We're facing some major resolve. This guy's not going to give up. He's had it. He's done with all this nonsense. We better step aside and let this guy get by. Resolve. Inspiration through disgust. But a lot of people don't change themselves. They wait for change. Circumstances to change, the government to change, life to change. What'll that do? Not much. These poor unfortunate folks accept their defeats and wallow in their self-pity. Why? Because they refuse to take control of the situation. They refuse to take control of their life, their career, their health, their relationships, their finances. They refuse to take control and take responsibility and get sufficiently disgusted to change it.
I talked about decisions in the beginning. We talked about expectations. I'm about to wrap this thing up. Listen to me. You can't make a difference until you make a decision. You better hear what I'm telling you, man. I'm talking about the secret to success. I'm always telling you how I went from one spot to the next spot. And that was it right there. Listen to me. Catch the first principle. You got to hear it. You can't make a difference until you make a decision. So, for real, some of you, man, you keep crying. You complaining about your job. You complaining about where you are financially. You complaining about your relationship. You complaining about your opportunities. You complaining. Listen to me. You murmuring and complaining. You complaining and complaining and complaining. Shut up. stop complaining and do me a favor. If you want to make a difference, all you got to do is one thing. This is how you get started. You want something different, listen to me. All you got to do is make a decision. That's it. And for those of you who've been making the wrong decision, all you got to do is make the right decision. But if you want to make a difference, make a decision. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? What I'm trying to do for you to take you to that next level is I'm trying to give you control of your life back. Some of you ain't got control. You talking about your job. You got control. Listen to me. Some of you talk about your economics like you ain't got no control. You got a control. I want you to know that your life right now is the sum total of your decisions. Not your mama's decision, not your daddy. Listen to me. Even if you made their decision, you decided to make their decisions. So I need you to do me a favor. I need you from this day forward for the rest of your life, make a decision.
I'm addicted to living my life. I'm addicted to just being happy as much as I possibly can. I'm addicted to helping people. I'm addicted to believing in myself when others did not. I'm addicted to understanding that sometimes when you feel that you are in a position that you can't go on, you got to have enough addiction in yourself to believe in yourself to push forward. Now, addiction comes in many different shapes and sizes. And there are a lot of people out here that are going to judge people who are addicted to things that we all know in most cases may not be helping them. But who am I or who are you to judge them? There are many people in the world right now that are suffering from many different things that you and I would never understand. But we're not here to judge, we're here to encourage. I'm here to let you know if you are suffering from something right now and it's hurting you and it's putting you down and putting you in a position where you feel that you can't go on, don't let this addiction destroy your purpose in this world. Be addicted about being powerful. Be addicted about being passionate. Be addicted about being passionate about what you believe in. Be addicted in doing the things that are going to make you better as a human being. No one said it was going to be easy. So if you're going to get addicted on being better. Find the right reasons, find the right purpose, find the right path and go towards it. Because every day, as long as you're waking up out of that bed and that sun is shining on your face, it gives you an opportunity to be unique. It gives you an opportunity to feel good about life. Be grateful. Be happy. But if you're going to be addicted of getting yourself out of that situation. Be addicted on trying to do something better with your life. Preserve your life. Reserve your life because it's yours. Yeah, there are people out there that don't want to hear a message like this. There are people out here that don't want to hear this type of truth. I'm not here to commercialize it. I'm not here to tell you that it's going to be okay, because sometimes it just won't be okay. Sometimes you just got to struggle just a little bit and go through the circumstances that you're going through. But that doesn't mean that you got to go through it and stay in a position that is hurting you and not making you better.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
Through all the things I've gone through in my life, I had a lot of downs. How did I keep the faith? There was a couple of reasons. Number one, I know from living that if you quit whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. There's not even a remote possibility. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. Now, when you're trying, you're going to fail. But quitting, just stopping, that was the number one thing I understood. And then number two, you have to make sure that your dreams, your aspirations and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
And then the other layer of it is you're probably going to have some suffering to get there, or some sacrifice to get there. And so once you've embraced and decided that this suffering, this sacrifice you're making is an indicator of progress, it's an indicator of obsession. Suffering and sacrifice and hard work is an indication of progress towards our dreams. The lack of sacrifice, the lack of suffering in our lives, its removal, its non-existence also equates to a non-existence of a great life, a non-existence of a dream happening, a big one anyway.
You have to want something so big that it wakes you up in the middle of the night. You have to want something so big that you think about it all the time. You have to want something so big that it drives you to wake up when you don't want to. It keeps you up at night when you long been sleepy. It makes you show up, do things you wouldn't normally do. It requires extra. If you want to be extraordinary and not ordinary, if you want to be ordinary, live your life.
And so embrace the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice and suffer to some extent. Once you've embraced that it's going to happen, it's almost not that bad. It's kind of like those of you that are fit. You've sort of accepted that before you go to the gym and get there, you're going to have to suffer. And we go anyway. It becomes a habit. No one goes into a gym thinking, I'm not going to have to sacrifice or suffer. There'll be no discomfort or no pain. Yet in life, outside of that one area, most of us are worried about suffering. We're afraid of it. When we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder whether it's worth it. We wonder whether we're supposed to. We wonder whether sacrifice or setbacks or suffering is a sign it's not our real dream, don't we? See, at the gym, you'd never think, oh, I'm going through some pain and discomfort. This must be a sign I shouldn't be at the gym. You'd never think that. So while it's happening, there's no part of you that says, this isn't right. In fact, the indication of the pain and sacrifice and sweat, don't you feel better at the gym? You're like, wow, I really sacrificed today. I really suffered. So in that area, we all know to the extent we suffer and sacrifice is to the extent we grow. And your body is a metaphor for the rest of your life. But the rest of our life, every time we sweat, every time we sacrifice, every time we suffer, we don't do what we do at the gym. We start saying, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe I'm not cut out. Maybe it's not my destiny. Maybe I just can't do it. It's the most unbelievable, ridiculous conclusion we draw, but it's what everybody does, which is another form of distraction, is doubt. Another form of distraction is just doubt, and doubt comes from the suffer. It comes from a loss. It comes from fear. It comes from the sacrifice. And so just remember this, you're supposed to suffer and sacrifice. So let me ask you a question. What are you willing to risk in order to make your dream come true? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're going to take a risk. Maybe it's financial. Maybe it's a risk of time. Maybe it's a risk at your job. Maybe it's a risk of looking bad. Maybe it's a risk of failing, of falling on your face, of going broke, of going through pain, of going through anxiety. What are you willing to risk in order to win? The price you will pay for not making your dream come true is far greater than the one that you will pay to make it come true. You'll pay that one the rest of your life. And so ask yourself what you're willing to risk. What's the price you're willing to pay?
Never give up until, however long that is, step by step, piece by piece, book by book, go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow, and resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become. Then you'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that price.
Because what most people do when they're trying to chase their dream or their big outcome, the whole time they're negotiating the price in their head. Should I continue to do it? Is it worth it? I don't know if I can continue anymore. It's getting higher, and that price is failure. That price is setback. That price is looking back. That price can be financial, literally a physical price. And what happens is, if you don't negotiate that price in advance, it's going to steal your focus and energy and become another distraction. One of the great distractions of chasing our dreams is this thing that goes off in our head as we're negotiating the price we're paying. Is it getting too high? Is it too much? And you'll have people in your ear, it's too big a sacrifice. You're going through too much. And you begin to negotiate it in your mind. It distracts all your focus. You can't be executing and negotiating simultaneously. If you're in your head negotiating and negotiating and negotiating, you can't execute. So negotiate it now. Negotiate it with me now. What are you willing to pay? For me, when I'm after something big, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll sacrifice everything else. But I will not sacrifice anything legal, anything unethical, or anything immoral. But beyond that, I'm going to get it. And I know that negotiation comes up front. I accept the suffering. I accept the sacrifice. I know the sacrifice is far smaller than the one I'll pay if I don't do it. And I eliminate distractions and I go freaking get what I want in my life, just like you can. And this needs to be your recipe as well. Successful people don't negotiate the cost of something. They negotiate whether it's worth it. What I'm telling you is if you really want something bad enough, it's worth it. It's worth it. So start to feed yourself the worth question over and over and over again, not the cost question. Cost is a distraction. Worth is a focus mechanism. This is so worth it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Focuses you. Cost distracts you.
And a friend of mine said, you know when people change? And I said, no. He said, when they get to the point when they say, I've had it. I've had it. I can do better than this.
He was in the hog pen. He was broke. He had lost everything. He was deranged and deprived and distraught. But the Bible said he came to himself in this deplorable situation. He came to himself. He didn't get any money in the mail. He didn't meet any fine person that built up his self-esteem. This was an inside job. He came to himself, said, wait a minute, I'm better than this. And the moment he made up his mind to get up, he got up. And I want to tell you something today. The moment you make up your mind to get up, you can get up. And no devil in hell, no system, no government, no power, no boss, no community, or anything else can hold you. Once you are free in your mind, you are free. The Bible says it is with the mind that we serve the Lord. This amazing piece of hard drive that God put in between our ears and is so programmable and so impressionable that there is a constant war between good and evil for the code to be able to program your mind. There's constant war, constant conflict going on as to who gets into your database and who is going to program your mind. Because all that you will do or not do, have or not have, accomplish or not accomplish, will be a direct derivative of what's going on inside of your mind. For it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your thinking has all the world to do with where you are. Your attitude has all the world to do with your altitude. So if you don't get clear thinking on an issue, you won't be able to develop in that area. Most generally, when we talk about that warfare and dealing with the images in our mind, we generally think in terms of sin. But I want to challenge you to understand that you have more to deal with in the warfare in your mind than just sin. You have depression, you have fear, you have phobias, you have insecurities, you have unbeliefs. There are a whole lot of dysfunctional behaviors that were inherently passed on to us, but these are the reverberating consequences of an act of sin that leave you struggling in areas that people cannot see. Lay your hand on your head. Say, this is an awesome machine. I wonder if it's being underutilized.
That's what makes us different than dogs and animals, birds, and cats, and spiders, and alligators. That's what makes us different than all of the life forms. The ability to think, the ability to use your mind, the ability to process ideas, and not just operate by instinct. You can order the entire process of your own life. And we do that by the way we think. We do that by exercising our mind. We do that by processing ideas and come up with a better philosophy, a better strategy for our life, goals for the future, plans to achieve those goals. All this comes from developing our philosophy. Think, use your mind, come up with ideas, and strengthen your philosophy. That is the major challenge of life. You don't need a better economy. You don't need better seed and soil. In fact, when it comes to seed and soil and rain and sunshine and seasons and the miracle of life, that's all you got. Now, what if you blame this stuff? Then you're blaming all you got. Guess what I had to do at age 25 in order to change my own future. I had to change my mind. I had to change my thinking. I had to change my philosophy. I was messed up on what was causing my problem. Once I got rid of that and started going for where the real problem was, which was me, I'm telling you, my life exploded into change.
God may be giving you more to work with than what you are working with at this time. You may have far more megabytes and more things that you can potentially do than what you're doing right now. That's why I don't like to hang with low-thinking people, because they'll make you underutilize what God has given you. You need somebody to challenge you that you could be doing more than what you're doing right now. You could have more than you have right now. You could go further than you're going right now. And somebody's got to be bold enough to look you in the face and empower you to go into the enemy's camp and take back what he stole from you. Look at somebody and say, it's time for a change. What stops us from making the changes that we need in our behavior, in our situation, it's the mind. I understand that there are about 1 million what are described as sensory receptors in the brain. Sensory receptors in the brain. That through the brain sensory receptors we're able to gather and maintain data. About 1 million sensory receptors in your brain. Huge operation in your brain. I just see it as a big electronic board with all kinds of connections going on in your head, whereby you are able to gather and galvanize data. About 1 million receptors, sensory receptors, that are constantly gathering information. While I'm speaking right now, they're operating right now in your brain, making you able not only to hear what I say, but assess my movements, and you're gathering expressed and implied information because you got it like that. You can do 2 or 3 things at the same time, 4, 5, 6 things at the same time, and gather all of that information all at the same time, because your mind is awesome, you're bright, you're brilliant, you are fearfully and marvelously made. You're an awesome computer full of all kinds of information all the time, spouting out data, thinking and speaking all at the same time. I'm thinking about one thing and speaking something else all at the same time, because we got it like that. Look at somebody say, I'm bad. But you have 10 billion sensory receptors that work in your imagination. But those 10 billion sensory receptors that you have make your imagination so keen that you have all of these impressions that come through your ability to conjure up information through the invisible realm, and it can become more real to you, and that's what causes some people to become sick. It's when the imagined becomes more real than reality, and that's what causes them to have certain dysfunctions that cause them to be diminished in their thinking. I was watching Ray Charles. They were going through Ray Charles' life, and they were talking about Ray Charles, who was blind, couldn't see, and yet he learned how to compose music and read music by Braille. And he could write music by Braille. So he wasn't just some gifted blind person who could play. He was intelligent, he was intellectual, he was gifted, he was creative. He could read and write and compose music. Even though he couldn't see and he lost the benefit of one of those devices that bring information to his sensory receptors, he began to rely on his invisible, the 10 billion sensory receptors, to gather information through other channels. Interestingly enough, he said something that was so harmonious with my message, I thought I would include it. He said that even though he had gone blind at 7, at 5 years old, he'd seen his brother drown to death in a small basin of water, and by 7 he'd gone blind, if I remember correctly. And by the time he was 12 or so, both his parents were dead. He was blind, he'd seen a murder, and his life was off and seemingly out of control, and music became an outlet for his spirit and for his soul. And he says, even though he couldn't see, he could hear the imagined music in his head so strongly that when he got ready to compose a piece, he says he didn't need a piano. He could compose an entire piece in his head because the accuracy of the music he heard in his head was more real to him than the music he played with his fingers. So what's going on in your head often can become more real than what's going on in your life.
Well, how do we get this information? We get this information through conditioning, through imagination, through suggestions, through implications, and all of this affects who we are and how we function as individuals. Are you following what I'm saying? That's why you have to watch what you do with your eye gate and your ear gate and your mouth gate, because all of these are gates to the soul whereby the enemy, evil or wickedness or righteousness comes before you. And the images that you have seen have all the world to do with who you are right now. Are you following what I'm saying?
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
When I was 297 pounds and I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life.
So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself more. Maybe you need to update your curriculum vitae, your resume. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly. I've dealt with hundreds of people in my clinical and consulting practice, and we set a goal, we develop a vision, and work towards it, and things inevitably get better for people. So it's not a luxury, it's difficult. It's a moral responsibility, and it isn't happiness. It's not, the pursuit isn't for happiness.
It's a moral responsibility to pursue what is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Charles, I love what I do as a leader and a journalist at Axios. My dream would be to do what I do at 65, 75, let alone 85. How do you do that? How did you make that possible? Like, what is your regimen?
Well, the first thing, as another one besides Frederick Douglass, my heroes, Viktor Frankl, put it, ever more people have the means to live, but more meaning for live for. The way you do it is have meaning in your life. And the way you have meaning in your life is you discover your gift. You follow Maslow, what you can be, you must be. And whatever your nature calls you to be, you dedicate yourself to that. So I've dedicated myself to that, to learning every day, trying to find new principles every day, searching for how to better apply the principles we are applying them, and every day try to improve. So I wake up every morning.
What time?
I get up usually a little before 6, say 5:45. Try to get to the office by 7. And what keeps me going is, I think I can contribute today.
The most important thing to do first thing in the morning is get yourself in a powerful state. If you're in a great mood, you will produce great results. You will have a great day. The better your attitude, the better the results you produce. The better your attitude, the better you can handle, overcome, and thrive through challenges and difficulties that come your way. So get yourself in a great mood. Do whatever it takes to get that feeling first thing in the morning. Whatever works for you, meditation, reading, gratitude, music, exercise. These are all good options that get you in state. When your mind is positive and clear, you can handle just about anything, can't you? And when you can face challenges with a clear mind, they lose their power. They no longer halt your progress. They no longer have a strangle over your day or your life. You simply choose the best way to move forward and move on. Most people don't start their days like this. Most people aren't happy. Don't be most people. Be the minority who start their day with positive expectations. Look at yourself in the mirror and repeat to yourself, today is going to be a great day. No matter what happens, today I will see the good. No matter what happens, I will do the right thing. No matter what happens, I will give my all today. Today I will give my best, so tomorrow will be better.
To lock me in bed is torture. People that can spend days and days and days in bed, I marvel at them. I look up under the sheets. What do you have in there to keep you in there that long?
Say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. The most selfish thing you can do in this world is help someone else. Why is it selfish? Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you, the good feeling from helping others, nothing's better than it.
And I ask you, what do you want? Because the days you don't feel like getting up out the bed, the days you feel like quitting, giving up and giving in. Listen to me. The only thing that's going to get you up out that bed, the only thing that's going to make you strive past that obstacle, get past that brick wall, the only thing that's going to make you get up and do what you're supposed to do is what you see. When you wake up in the morning, look at your goals going to tell you what time to get up. Are you hearing me?
Don't be afraid of missing out. Be afraid of being in the exact same place as you are now. 1 year from today, 5 years from today, 10 years from today. Struggling to pay the bills, struggling for energy, struggling to find that passion in your life. Visualize what you are going to do today to get more out of your life. Do it every day. And every day, you will love the life you have created for yourself.
You know when you are guilty of wasting time and laying in bed and you're being lazy. You know it. Whether that was 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, you know it. You have to start the cycle of waking up early by waking up early.
Success is not convenient. You have to do what is required to accommodate success.
Holding the line, maintaining the standard, giving no slack, none. That's the discipline.
There are opportunities that are going to come your way, and there might be some other things going on, and you have to make a choice. You have to ask yourself the question,
what do you want? Because if you don't know what you want, nothing else matters.
How I'm about to use my time. Is it positive? Is it purposeful? Is it leading in the direction of where I'm going and the meaning of my life? Is it productive? And is it profitable?
Somebody says, thank you for touching my life and taking the time to make the investment. And that's what I'm all about. So if you'll become a good student today, and here's the last note, don't be a follower, be a student. You'll be happy to know today we haven't come seeking disciples. We've got no movement for you to join. I'm just here to share some of my experiences, good ideas best I can. But I think that's good advice. Don't be a follower, be a student. right? Take advice, but not order. Take information, but don't let somebody, order your life. Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Excellent note to make. Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Not to do what someone else says. Take what someone else says. Process it. Think about it. Ponder it. If it makes you wonder, if it makes you think, then it's valuable. Then, when you go take action, make sure that the action is not what somebody told you to do. Make sure the action is the product of your own conclusion. You'll follow just a little bit of those simple guidelines telling you the learning process can be speedy, swift, powerful. Your learning curve can go up, and then applying it to your business, your life, your family, conversations, equities of all kinds. You'll find some progress like I did that first 5 years when I met a teacher willing to share with me, turn my life around. Progress I couldn't believe happened for me. Okay, let's get started. I want to review. I was here last time, and we talked about the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. And I just want to review those because it lays such a good foundation for all the rest that I want to share with you today. We got a lot of subjects to cover, so we're going to go rather swiftly. Okay? Put on your mental track shoes here and run with me today, because I'm going to deal mostly in concepts. Expect you to, fill in a lot of the details, because I got a lot to share. I want to get through it all. But let's lay this foundation again of the 5 major pieces. Happens to be the title of my latest book, but I think it is so valuable in laying a foundation. It's some of the things I learned between ages 25 and 30. The teacher who taught me so well. He dealt in these fundamentals, we call these. Fundamentals. We call these basics. Basics for sports, fundamentals for your business, fundamentals for the way you deal with your family, a few simple things, a few basic things that if you practice every day can make all the difference in the world, how it works out. I boiled it down to 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Let's just review those. Number 1 is philosophy. Philosophy, as I taught the last time I was here, philosophy, in my personal opinion, is the major determining factor in how your life works out.
See, the people that will live their dreams, the 2% that will do that, these are, and write this down, become a risk taker. They're risk takers. They don't mind failing. They don't mind making mistakes. They're willing to take life on, take life in the collar. This, God said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said. She said, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. Here's something else. Write this down. Make it important to become financially independent. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. A friend of mine, Rita Davenport, said money's not important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas. Even if you're as homeless as I am, you got some money, some women will find something cute on you. Oh, he's got eyelashes like Tom Cruise. He's got to walk like Denzel Washington, I used to be so broke I'd walk past a bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call a house and my children would answer the phone and say, my daddy say he's not home. Repeat after me, please. I'll never be broke again. Never, never, never. Yeah, see, ladies and gentlemen, it makes a difference. The only time I really appreciated having money was when my mother became ill. I was a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio from the 29th House District, Whitehall in the Upper Linden area. And my brother called me and said, Leslie, yes, Mama's been sick and we're going to put her in a nursing home. I said, wait a minute, Wesley, we can't do that. Get Margaret Ann on the phone. She's on the phone. Get Linda and Leonard. They're all here. Leslie, listen to me. Mama used to work in a nursing home. She said she never wanted to go into one. I promised her when I was 10 that I would take care of her. We would do whatever was necessary to take care of her. He said, we knew you would feel like that. And this is why we did such a thorough job interviewing the various nursing homes. And we have found the one that's ideal. And Mama would love them. I said, hold it, just a minute. She didn't clean their behinds. She took care of us. See, I had a problem. I couldn't understand how one woman, 3rd grade education, 46, domestic worker on Miami Beach, can raise 7 children who couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 children couldn't take care of one woman. I had a problem with that. So I resigned from the Ohio legislature and I went back to Miami to take care of Mama. And I'll never forget taking her to Jackson Memorial Hospital. And when we went in, the receptionist said, as she looked at my mother, looked at me, she didn't say, how you doing? Are you uncomfortable? Are you in any pain? My mother at that time, she was in her 70s. The lady just said, what kind of insurance do you have? And I stepped forward and I said, she has Les Brown Unlimited. Give my mother what she needs. I can write a check for her.
You've heard this before, but if you really began to think about what you think about on a regular basis, most of you are thinking about what you're worried about, you're afraid of, and what you're concerned or anxious about. And you don't take control of your thought. You don't take control about what you're putting in your mind. I'm a decent example of making that shift. I do take control of it. And what I do when I know I'm having ones that don't serve me, I go, I'm intentional about it. When you're intentional about something, it loses its power over you. Once you're aware you're doing something, it can't affect you like it can when you're not aware. So I'm a negative thinker. I love to worry. I have this habit. Now I'm going to be overly cheesy with you because it's all dudes in here, but you have an emotional home. You have a series of emotions you live with regularly, don't you? Regardless of what the F is going on in your life, you find a way to get these emotions. Those emotions could be bliss, ecstasy, passion, joy, peace, faith, but they could also be worry, stress, anger, depression, frustration, concern, anxiety, aren't they? And you have a home, and you've had it most of your life, and it started when you were a little boy or a little girl. And because you've done it over and over and over again, even though you know they don't serve you, you will find a way on a very regular basis to get those. The quality of your emotion is going to be the quality of your life. And if you don't begin to become more intentional about the emotion, see, all of you this year wrote down a bunch of things you want to achieve. So did I. My outcomes for the year. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to save this much money. We're going to help that many people. I've got a list of all my outcomes. You and I have gotten pretty good at achieving things we put our mind to, haven't we? You're getting pretty good at it. Maybe not last year, but I think some of you I've been talking to here told me you had your best year. But you're damn good at getting what you want, aren't you? Including the negative thing. You're damn good at getting that stress. Man, you will find a damn to get that emotion. Now, since you're so good at getting what you want, what if you set, and I'm serious, what if you set an outcome to begin to achieve certain emotion on a regular? What you've done is you've deluded yourself into thinking, if I can get $5 million in the bank, $10 million in the bank, or I get one of these houses my lead hat, I get that hot so-and-so girl, or I get to this level of influence, then I'll have those emotions up. That ain't how it works. Your subconscious and unconscious mind has done this millions of times. It's a map, and you will find a way, trust me. I was worth $30, $40, $50 million, still really not very happy person. I was worth $100 million, still not very happy. Married the girl of my dream, built my first mansion, built another mansion, still not very happy because I didn't get outcomes for emotions. I got outcomes for stuff. I want you to have a bunch of stuff, trust me. I want you to have a bunch of achievement. But if you start to become more intentional about, I'm going to find some peace every day. I'm going to find some faith every day. I'm going to find some solitude every day. You'll find that when you get those emotions, as good as you are, is you'll get more of stuff. People are like, what happened to you? I went from 50 million to probably $500 million, 5 or 8 years. And the difference was, don't quote me on that, the difference was I started to get the quality of life I'm quality. And you got to get those, brother. You're going to lead your family. You're going to lead your mom and dad. You're going to lead your life because you're not getting out of here alive. You ain't getting out of here alive. Why don't you start to be a little happier, a little bit more joyous, a little bit more giving, man? You'd be so happy you did. The fact is the strongest men are the ones who are willing to be the most vulnerable, are the ones who are willing to give joy, give passion, give peace to people. Those are the strongest men in the world.
Faith is the substance of things that you hope for. You just hope something, Joe. Then what happened is through grace and favor, he give you a couple of them things you hope for, and then you're supposed to start believing these because now it turns into faith. But if you take this script, faith is the substance of things hoped and the evidence of things not seen. What is the evidence of things not seen? I just told you. Albert Einstein said, imagination, it's the preview to life's coming track. But guess what? Your imagination really, it's the evidence thing not seen. Because your imagination, you know why it's the evidence of things not seen? Because you're the only one can see. Your imagination is actually God showing you a preview of a coming attraction that he has for you. The moment you don't believe in your imagination, you negate what he got. Your imagination is the preview to life's coming attraction. It is the evidence of things not seen because can't nobody see it with you. Your problem is you keep telling your imagination to the wrong people. See, if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. It's dead. How many times, man, have you had a tremendous idea, something you thought was the one, when told to your loved one and your so-called, and they shot it. I mean, you was convinced that it was just, oh man, I just came to you. And you told it to them and they shot it down. And you thought since they was your loved ones and they friends and they got your best interests at heart, you believed you was wrong. They taught, you let them talk you out of what God got. Some of y'all still sitting here with the ambition of opening a business one day, but you scared to go start the business because you got a job and you got bills. Rich people got bills. Everybody got bills. Hell, I got bills. Everybody owes somebody something. I got something with the bank right now. You're going to let the fact that you got some bills stop you from opening the business, the thing that God done put in your imagination? So you're going to squash that because you got bills. Everybody got your real life in your